Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Mrs. R. Mrs. Ringquist. Lynette Ringquist is my real name, and I am Allie Ringquist's mom. And today I'm going to be sharing with you the book called The Kicks, Saving the Team. Now, I just wanted to show you that you are able to purchase this book on Amazon for $6.99 for the Kindle, $7.99 for paperback, $17.99 for hardcover, and used up to 25 cents. Yeah. So that is available there. And also, you can buy the first 6 books in the series for $22 from Amazon. So if you find that you like book 1, you might want to consider looking at the next few books in his series. This is by Alex Morgan, kind of an up-and-coming author, and these have become extremely popular. And it has 18 chapters, and it's from 8 to 12 years old is what this is set to be for a student read. Well, I did buy the book, but then I thought I'm also going to buy the Kindle Reader, because you could read along with me if you wanted, or you could just listen, or you could mute me and read it yourself as I go through it. So I decided to buy both the softcover book and the Kindle version. So this is my first attempt of starting out The Kicks, Saving the Team for your ELA project. Chapter 1. I was running as fast as I could, moving so quickly. The other players were a blur. My best friend, Kara, was streaking up the field not far behind me, the two of us connected by an invisible string. After dribbling around a defender, Kara lofted the ball way up high, incredibly high, a pass meant for one special person. As the sold-out crowd rose to their feet, chanting my name, I leaped into the air. Devin! Devin! They knew what was coming. Soaring over the other team's defenders, I closed my eyes as I flicked my head forward, aiming directly for the center of the ball. I headed it in right past the goalie's outstretched hands. Goal! My teammates were already racing over to congratulate me. They lifted me off the ground and bounced me up and down on their shoulders. Devin, Devin, wake up. My eyes popped open, focusing on my little sister, Maisie, who was jumping up and down on my bed. Ugh, I was not so ready to wake up yet. First day of school, she shouted. Dad's going to drive. I tried to throw my pillow at her as she bounced out of my room, but it barely cleared the edge of the bed. I was exhausted. I leaned back and sunk into my familiar mattress, wishing it would suck me in and transport me back home. I could be in Connecticut right now, getting ready to conquer the 7th grade as half of Kara and Devin. I was okay with Kara's name being first because she was 5 weeks older. This was supposed to be the year my best friend Kara and I became 7th grade co-captains of the Milford Middle School Cosmos and got to wear the yellow captain armbands with the big letter C on them. Instead, that C now stood for California, where my family had to move to. Seeing Dream Kara made me miss real life Kara. So I did what I could do whenever I felt the way. I reached for my phone. I did whatever I could do whenever I felt that way. I reached for my phone in the hopes of having a message from her. The only thing I asked was that my parents, for when we moved, was unlimited texts so I could be in touch with Kara constantly. Mom says it's too early to ring you. Striped polo, red shirt, sent a pic. Bye. I clicked open the picture. Kara had texted me. In it was Kara holding the camera in front of her full-length mirror, capturing a shot of her wearing the outfit she described. Her long brown hair was swept high into a ponytail, and she had a huge grin on her face, and her big blue eyes had that mischievous look that they always did. I let out a big sigh. I missed her. Kara and I had agreed that we'd pick out our school outfits together, like we always used to do. But with the 3-hour time difference, we couldn't exactly call each other up in the mornings. I may have just woken up, but Kara had already been at school for 2 hours by now. I would have to figure out what to wear without Kara's help. Not that I could dress myself or anything. It was just a fun thing we'd done each morning, but everything was different now. Devin! Mom's voice called from downstairs. You better be getting dressed. We have to get to school early and get your enrollment papers done. Okay, I'm coming, I groaned. I'd been awake for only 5 minutes, and I wasn't exactly ready to go rushing off into my new life. Setting a course for Kentville Middle School, Dad said as he pretended to push buttons on the console of our family car. He even made the accompanying beeping sounds as he prepared to pull out of the garage. Whoosh, Maisie cried, throwing her head back as Dad pushed the car up to a whopping 40 miles an hour. Maisie was 8 and didn't mind playing along with Dad's silly games. I, on the other hand, was far too nervous to even pretend to want to join in. Meanwhile, my mom turned around and handed me and Maisie each a bottle of water. I already packed water in your backpack, she said, but take extra. It's important to keep hydrated. Maisie and I exchanged eye rolls. If we had $1 for every time our mom told us to keep hydrated, we'd be rich. It was like she thought we were going to dry up or something. And now that we had moved to California, which was warmer all year than Connecticut, she'd already gone water crazy, offering us a glass every time we turned around. But that's Mom. She's a big health food nut too. So I'd rather have the water than her famous green smoothie. Ugh. Now you can see where this little ball is right here on the picture. That means the scene is changing. Like if you went to a play and they closed the curtains and opened it with a new scene, that's what that little ball means, is the scene is changing to something new. Can't I have fruit punch? Maisie pleaded. Mom shook her head. It was an argument that they had all the time. What Mom didn't know was that Maisie traded her snacks for fruit juice. I'd hoped she'd find some kids at her new school who liked kale chips. Otherwise, she'd be out of luck. I squeezed my eyes shut so I could see us driving closer and closer to school. The drive might feel longer that way, I hoped. Sensing my nerves, my mom reached back from the front seat and gave my hand a squeeze. I opened my eyes briefly to give her a small smile and then closed them again. The problem was, I was completely unprepared for a new school. Mom had given me a welcome to Kentville Middle School packet, but that hadn't told me anything I really wanted to know. Like, for example, who would talk to me? That was not adequately covered. Where did the nice, normal 7th graders eat lunch? And would it be awkward if I sat with them? There was not one hint or spot marked out for me in the brochure's map. How would I fit in with the kids from Kentville? The pamphlet was useless there, too. The only thing that gave me a glimmer of hope was the fall calendar tucked into the brochure. Soccer tryouts were being held today, the first day of school. I might not know if I'd fit in with the Kentville kids, but one thing I did know for sure was that I was pretty good at soccer. But that had been back in Connecticut. Half of the U.S. women's soccer team came from California. What if all the kids were superhuman soccer playing robots? At the very least, competition for spots on the team would be fierce. But just The thought of playing soccer again made me happy, if I could make the team. It would be nice to play soccer in real life again, not just in my dreams. I'd hoped I didn't get totally creamed at the tryouts. Soccer or not, I still didn't have the answer to the biggest question of all. How would I survive without Kara? The one summer we'd spent apart, when Kara had gotten sick and couldn't leave for sleepaway camp with me, I hadn't managed to meet any new friends until she showed up 3 weeks later. It was the worst. What if I didn't meet anyone here either? Who would come and save me now? Lost in thought, and with my eyes still screwed shut, I didn't notice we had arrived at my new school until Dad pulled right up in front of the entrance and jerked the car to a stop. "Here we are at our first destination," he announced. "Please disembark to the right." Kentville Middle School was a huge, plain-looking, brown and yellow stucco building. It looked just like a normal school, not the glamorous California school I'd built up in my head. In front of the building was a big green gate with the door swung wide open. Students poured in through the gate, a sea of unfamiliar faces. A clump of kids was hanging out by the flagpole in front, with the US and California flags fluttering in the slight morning breeze. Mom got out of the passenger seat, her paper scattered to the ground. "Devin, let's go," she said, scrambling to pick everything up. I ran my hands through my long, stick straight brown hair to make sure it was presentable before opening the door and stepping outside into the warm, dry California air. I took a deep breath. Kentville Middle School, here I come. "Devin Berkey," my math teacher, Mrs. Johnson, called out. "Here," I said. I was in my first period, algebra class. Algebra was usually for 8th graders, but I'd always been good at math, and my placement test had landed me here. "Ah," Mrs. Johnson said, "I see you're our only 7th grader this year, and you're new to Kentville, I take it." "Yeah," I said. "I moved here from Connecticut." "Well, welcome to the West Coast," said Mrs. Johnson. "Our class is delighted to have you." But they didn't exactly look delighted. They weren't paying attention to me at all. As a matter of fact, I guess that's what it was like to be the only 7th grader in a classroom full of 8th graders. But even my homeroom of 7th graders, but even in my homeroom of 7th graders, it had been clear that most people already had their friends and weren't necessarily on the market for new ones. I had understood that. In Connecticut, because I had Kara, I hadn't really tried to meet new people. I hadn't been unfriendly or anything, but making new friends hadn't been a priority. I was sure it was the same way for people here. I was afraid of making new friends. I was afraid making new friends was going to be impossible. It wasn't going to happen in algebra class, that was for sure. Here's who talks to the only 7th grader in algebra. No one, apparently. There was a group of girls in the back who I kind of got a good glimpse of. One looked, and I could tell they were the cool girls. They had their hair pulled up in high, messy top knots, and their lips were shiny with gloss. Looking at those girls and the other girls in the class, one thing was immediately obvious. California girls dressed way different from Connecticut girls. First of all, almost every girl in class had flip-flops dangling from her feet. I looked down at my Converse sneakers. I got to ask Mom to get me some flip-flops. Generally speaking, California's style seemed way more easygoing than back east. I didn't see one polo shirt in the crowd, no plaid either. Preppy was definitely not in here the way it was in Connecticut. My carefully creased khakis were one of a kind here, that paired with my crispy ironed dress shirt. I felt a little stiff, Luckily, long flowing hair seemed to be the thing in California. At least I met that criteria. Devin, want to solve for X? Mrs. Johnson said to me, breaking my concentration. On the board, she had written down a too easy equation. I got up to solve the problem. I thought, yeah, X is how many friends I've made so far. X equals none. At lunch, I walked into the cafeteria alone and was completely overwhelmed. It seemed like everyone knew exactly where to sit, and they were already there chatting away happily and eating their lunches. Not knowing what to do and too scared to go sit with a total stranger, I brought my packed lunch to the steps by the library and pulled out a book to read so I didn't look like a complete loser. After finishing my food, with plenty of time left in the lunch period, I didn't know what to do with myself. I snuck into a bathroom stall to call Kara. I knew we weren't allowed to use phones during school hours, but if I didn't talk to someone soon, I was going to explode. A trio of girls came in to hang out and gab in front of the mirror, and after a few minutes of primping, it didn't seem like they were going to leave. Not wanting to risk anyone overhearing my phone call, I settled on just texting Kara. First day is horrible. Haven't met anyone. Her response came back right away. It'll get better. Gina and Vita say hi. Gina and Vita were two of our soccer friends. I immediately felt jealous that Kara was hanging out with them and not me. What are you doing? I wrote. School's out, going to the mall. Go meet people. It's so not that easy, I responded. I wanted to tell her exactly what my morning had been like, but that would have to wait till later on Skype. Just be yourself. You're so outgoing. I didn't feel outgoing. I felt like a girl who was hiding out in a bathroom, crouched on a toilet seat. My phone buzzed again. You are awesome. Thanks. Call you later. Love you. The primping girls finally left the bathroom. I stuffed my phone in my bag and unlocked the bathroom stall. Having texted Kara, I felt a bit better, a little more hopeful. Maybe Kara was right. Maybe if I was more my usual outgoing self, I'd be okay after all. At least my next class was Girls Phy Ed. What a relief. I might have been having trouble meeting people, but sports I could do. I was especially relieved when I learned that we'd be playing kickball. I loved kickball. I was psyched when it was finally my turn at the plate. As the pitcher rolled the ball toward me, I dug in my back foot and then swung forward with my right foot. The rubber ball took off with a satisfying thunk and launched way out in the outfield. It was nice to see all of those years of soccer come in handy. I rounded the bases, stopping only when I got to third. Woo-hoo, great kick, the girl in third base said to me as I skidded to a stop. Her braided black hair was all bunched up into a messy ponytail. She had on a bright blue headband and her wrists were filled with bracelets. She snapped her gums as we talked. Let's see you do it again next time, she said, punctuating her friendly challenge with a smile and a bubble burst. I'm Jessie, by the way. My next turn up, I kicked the ball harder, aiming it at right field towards a tall girl with thin black bangs that went straight across her forehead. She took a few long steps backwards, holding her arms out to catch the ball, but then she tripped over her own feet and fell down right on her backside. When I saw that, I knew I had some time, so I looked straight ahead and chugged for third base. Emma, get up, Jessie called out to the struggling girl. The ball's behind you. When I breezed by third on my way home, Jessie gave me a high five, even though she wasn't on my team. The girls on my team congratulated me when I got back to the dugout. It was the best part of my day so far, hands down. Later, when we were headed back to the locker rooms to change, Jessie and Emma caught up to me. Hey, do you play soccer? Jessie asked. Because you have a mean right foot. I smiled. I do. Well, I did back home in Milford. And by the way, my name is Devin. Well, Devin, you have to come to soccer tryouts. They're right after school today. Emma nodded. I nodded. I know, but I'm a little nervous. Nervous? Jessie asked in disbelief. With that kick of yours? I sighed. But California is famous for its soccer players. I'm guessing everyone on the team can kick like me or better. Jessie and Emma looked at each other and burst out laughing. Jessie was doubled over with her eyes squeezed shut, and Emma covered her face with her hands as she laughed. I was totally confused. What was so funny? Oh, Devin, Jessie said as she recovered from her laughing fit. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but the Kentville kangaroos stink. Emma nodded in agreement, still grinning. I couldn't believe what she was saying. Really? I asked, shocked. Then why are you guys trying out? Hmm. Sorry, my page has changed here. Hang on one second. Oh, I'm right down here. That was weird. All right. Sorry about that. I'm right here. Maybe, maybe not. Jessie shrugged. I love soccer, and it'll be fun, I guess. There was no pressure to win, that's for sure. And I heard we get out of class early for games and stuff. That's always a plus in my book. Emma laughed and nudged Jessie with her elbow. You do anything to get out of class. But seriously, Jessie is a great player. Jessie smiled modestly when Emma said that. And I love to play too, even if I'm not that coordinated, Emma said, and they both giggled. But I'm a huge soccer fan, and I heard that Coach Flores is really nice. But they'd say she's kind of flaky too. This will be her first year in the Kentville team. It's only for 7th and 8th graders. The Kangaroos will have a better season this time around, Jessie said confidently, because we'll be on the team. They did win only one game last year, she added. Emma giggled again and said, and it wasn't because the other team forfeited. Jessie nodded. Wow, I said, shaking my head. I can't believe it. I thought everybody would be like Olympic soccer stars here. How could this be true? Maybe the Kangaroos weren't good by California standards, which were way high. The team was probably still awesome compared to my East Coast team. Or maybe Jessie and Emma were exaggerating about how bad the team was to make me feel less nervous about tryouts. You still have to try out, Jessie pleaded. If we get more players like you, maybe it will really be a winning year for the Kicks. The Kicks? Now I was totally confused. I thought you said you were the Kangaroos. It's a nickname for the girls' team, Jessie said. Emma nodded. It goes way back. We're not even sure where it came from. Maybe because, kangaroos kick? She shrugged. The Kicks, I said, smiling. That's cute. But the team couldn't always have been horrible to get a cool name like that. Who knows, Jessie sighed. But it's a new season, she added hopefully. Maybe you and me and Emma will be the Kicks' new Lucky Charms. Here's hoping all three of us make the team. Honestly, Devin, I think you'll be a shoo-in. Maybe we'll even beat Pinewood, Emma added optimistically. Jessie snorted. Don't count on it. They're the best team in our league. I'd be happy to win any game. For a second, I felt crushed hearing how bad the soccer team was, even though I still found it hard to believe. Then I flashed back to my desperate text to Kara from the bathroom. She told me to be myself, and as soon as I had been, I'd met two nice girls who played soccer too. Terrible soccer team or not, things were starting to look up in the friend department. And if the other girls trying out for the team were this nice too, I definitely wouldn't be eating lunch in the library steps or hiding out in the bathroom anymore. Tryouts after school. Got it, I said with a smile. If it meant spending more time with Jesse and Emma, I'd squash my nerves and give it a go. See you there. Excellent, said Emma. Now, if I could only figure out where Mom had unpacked my soccer stuff.